Hi, what's up guys? How you doing? Welcome back. Today I'm doing another Duncan Sheik video. Sheik. A Duncan Sheik video, like Sheik from Zelda. Anyway, I'm doing another Duncan Sheik video for She Runs Away, because this is also another really good song by him and I want to talk about it. And we want to talk about it for a long time, so let's do it.
Not see the end of it, but luckily she comes around. It isn't what she talks about, it's just the way she is. And she says, ooh, darling, don't you know, the darkness comes and the darkness goes. She says, ooh, babe, why don't you let it go? Happiness ain't
Okay, let's talk about this part right here. This time, I got smart. I kept my lyrics up beforehand. Anyway, when he says, you may not see the end of it, but luckily she comes around. It isn't what she talks about. It's just the way she is. Let's talk about that part. What's interesting is it's like, I think what he's referencing is you may not see how the situation is going to end. You don't see what the conclusion is immediately. And before you can even think about it, what do you say? But luckily she comes around. It isn't what she talks about. It's just the way she is. Like, you may not see the demise, but luckily she's still around, still there is kind of how I take it. And you're more so, he's caught up by the essence of her, just her general demeanor and how she acts, and not so much the things that she's saying, and not so much the actual words that are coming out of her mouth. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean when you're like kind of just enamored by somebody just by their general presence, so much so that like it doesn't even matter what they're doing, you just want them around. And then also when it comes to the line where basically she's talking to him, because I like to think of this song like a flip side to Barely Breathing. But anyway, when she says, ooh darling, don't you know the darkness comes and the darkness goes, and she says, ooh baby, why don't you let it go, happiness ain't never what you think it should be. So like, she's basically telling him, that sometimes, that things aren't always going to be perfect. And you'll see further on in the song, him in this song is someone very much obsessed with the idea of this kind of perfection that he's chasing and that he can't seem to find. And she's basically letting him know, good times come, good times go, bad times happen, bad times go. And you should kind of let go of your illusions, let go of what you think things are, because what you think it is isn't really what it is. And that's kind of played into the line, happiness ain't never how you think it should be. So basically, what will make you happy, what will make you content and fulfilled as a person, rarely will be what you think will actually do it. And this is what she really will emphasize to him throughout the song, but let's keep going.
I mystified the simple life, I covered up with consciousness. I saw myself and broke it down till nothing more was left. She saw the symptoms right away and spoke to me in poetry. Sometimes the more you wonder why, the worse it seems to get.
Okay, now this line, I really like this verse line, the whole verse, which is, I mystified the simple life. We're going to go like a little bit by bit. I covered up with consciousness. Now, what I love about that is when he says, I mystified the simple life. Like, he took the idea, I think it's like basically like taking like the idea of like what you think your dream life would be. Maybe it be kid, dog, house, whatever, great job, career, whatever you consider like the simple life, the life without complications. He made it up into this giant, this beautiful idea, this perfect idea. He made it into this thing that's, just this beautiful fantasy in his head. I think we all can understand, like when you put an idea up like on a pedestal, so to speak, when you idealize something and you refuse to see any of the flaws in it, which I think plays into when he says, I covered up with consciousness. Like, I made it this beautiful ideal, and I try to basically pretend like there's nothing wrong and there's no flaws, and that it's what I need to have in life. And then when he says, like, I saw myself and broke it down till nothing more was left, I kind of take that as like I see who I really am, and who I really am kind of doesn't fit with this ideal, and I kind of just destroyed everything around me till I was left with nothing because I couldn't reconcile reality with my fantasy, so to speak. And then when he goes into like she saw the symptoms right away and spoke to me in poetry, and basically like this woman who came into his life from the first verse, basically she saw what was plaguing him, and I think she spoke to me in poetries, and she spoke beautiful words. She said the things that I really wanted to hear, or even the things that I maybe needed to hear, and maybe I just wasn't listening entirely. But she saw, and she basically was trying to fix him, to put it simply. She came to him, she saw what his problem was, and she thought maybe she could fix him, and she tried. And then that goes into sometimes the more you wonder why, the worse it seems to get, which is like basically the more you keep nagging and contemplating and being stuck in the same pattern, the more you just like drive yourself into a hole instead of improving or getting better or maybe even getting closer to that dream. The more you agonize over it, the further you get away from it. And then we go back into the chorus, which we already kind of understand, so let's keep going.
She says, ooh, darling, don't you know the darkness comes and the darkness goes. She says, ooh, babe, why don't you let her go? Happiness ain't never how you think it should be so.
And then at the end of the chorus, at the end of that, when he adds, she runs away, that really is, I think, just simply, she got tired of it. She got tired of trying to fix him, of trying to solve his problems, of trying to get him to see reality and reconcile reality with what he thinks reality is and with his fantasy. And she can't do it, and eventually he drove her away. Eventually she just left. She couldn't do it anymore.
A time you need her more than anything. You may believe yours are wounds that only she can heal, and everything will turn around. She becomes so serious. What she chose to offer you was all that you could have.
Okay, before we wrap this song up, let's get into this last verse here. And when he says like, and then you know there comes a time you need her more than anything. You may believe yours are the wounds that only she can heal. I take that as like, there comes a time like he became like really dependent on her to solve his problems, to fix him, and he believed that her being around was the one thing that made him whole, that solved his problems, that made him better. And he basically put all this responsibility onto her that she maybe didn't even ask for, but that's how he was still kind of running away from his problems, by putting the responsibility onto someone else. And then when he says that everything will turn around and she becomes so serious, what she chose to offer you was all that you could have. And then when he goes, when everything turned around and she became so serious, basically everything is flipped and she became sick of it and she became pissed. And was no longer whimsical and fun and enchanting, because I think it's like he basically got reminded that she is also a real person with her own feelings and expectations and goals, and it's not just about trying to fix him and solve his problems. And he realized when he says like what she chose to offer you was all that you could have, he basically realized that he was asking too much of this person, and what she was offering was only thing that was possible to get from her, but that wasn't good enough. And only now does he realize the flaws in his thinking and the flaws in what he did in the relationship. But anyway, let's wrap this song up.
He says, ooh, darling, don't you know the darkness comes and the darkness goes. She says, ooh, babe, why don't you let her runs away.
Okay, that was Duncan Sheik, She Runs Away. And again, I think this is a really good song because I think it is like the flip side of the coin to Barely Breathing. Because Barely Breathing is very much talking about how he was manipulated, how he was hurt in a relationship, and what it was doing to him. And it's more, but whereas this song is a little bit more introspective and more reflective about the wrongs that he did and the mistakes that he made in the relationship, possibly the same relationship, possibly a different relationship. But the other one is like the burden that was put on him. This one's about the burden that he put on somebody else. And so I think I joined that perspective. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you agree, disagree? Is there another Duncan Sheik song I should check out? Yeah, until next time, I'll talk to you later. Peace.
We were born for tonight.